There have been many generations of games that have come and gone over the years. Some we still remember as classics, others we try to forget. Here though, we're going to show what some older games have done correctly, as well as look at their errors and see how they can be corrected. This is the Chamber of Sages, and I'm Zeltik, and today we'll be fixing Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword was a game most people are still divided on. In this series we'll take a retrospective look at the game and tell you how we would fix the minor issues, but also tell you what it did right. Now without further ado, let's begin. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword is a game known for doing so much right, yet because of the control style many tend to write it off as one of the worst Zelda games. This is a harsh criticism when dealing with this game when compared to other games with motion controls. When Skyward Sword was released on the Wii, most fans were sold on the idea of being the wielder of the Master Sword and being able to slay hordes of enemies with a flick of the wrist. However, this was an idea that sounded better on paper than in practice. The controls functioned well, for the most part,
looks like we're having a little interference here.
But many people stopped being enamored by them quickly. The controls are not perfect by any means, but they were part of a generation of new, experimental controls that to this day have changed gaming in many positive ways. So what did we like about Skyward Sword? First off, something that I don't feel the game is praised for enough, the visual design. Like The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, Skyward Sword doesn't opt for a gritty or realistic feel, and this is to the game's credit. Far too many games released over the years are trying to be realistic, caring about graphics over aesthetics. This is something Nintendo has not been a part of, continually using art styles that allow their games to withstand the test of time. Skyward Sword has one of these art styles. I went back to look at the game, and graphically it holds up because it chose not to be photorealistic. Though it is visually held back by the Wii's low-powered hardware, the game can be emulated in true 1080p for a beautiful look. The story of Skyward Sword is perhaps its strongest element. Light, happy moments are spaced throughout perfectly to add more oomph to the heavy-hitting events, and we were given moments with Link that make him not just a projection of ourselves in the gaming environment, but also a character all of his own. A great example of this is the obvious discomfort shown by Link during the admittedly, intimate meetings with Girahim. In addition to this, Link's relationship with Zelda in this game is the strongest it's ever been, which creates another powerful story dynamic. Skyward Sword had great character development also. The fan favourite Groose is a perfect example, transitioning from high school bully to honest friend over the course of the adventure. Finally, we'll talk about the game's music. Skyward Sword's music is an incredibly strong part of the experience, with songs that perfectly suit each scene, whether it's calmly strolling through the bright and happy Skyloft, or fighting the imposing Coloctus. In my opinion, music is one of the most important elements of gaming in general, because of how much music can improve a gaming experience. For example, the music of Silent Hill isn't perhaps the sort of stuff you'd listen to on the bus, but it does its job perfectly in the game and sets the horror tone. Poorly handled soundtracks can ruin a game no matter how good the gameplay or the story is, but luckily Skyward Sword, as with the entire Zelda series, doesn't even come close to having this problem. All of this said, Skyward Sword is not perfect, having control issues that break the immersion and limited exploration. These parts do not break the game in any way, but they do hinder it. Let's go over a few of our least favourite things. First up, the flying in Skyward Sword. I was so hyped for flying when I saw the first trailers for the game. Wind Waker is my personal favourite Zelda title, so I was so ready for an experience of the Great Sea in the sky. But when I played through the game for the first time, something was missing. Don't get me wrong, I loved the feel of flight and the control I had over the Loftwing, which was actually one of my favourite uses of the Wii Motion Plus in the game, nosediving at high speeds being a particular highlight. However, this didn't help to mask the obvious lack of, well, anything in the sky. Sure, there are a few islands dotted around, but I'm sitting here writing this script over a year and a half since I last beat the game, and I can't remember any more than the Lumpy Pumpkin, the Bamboo House, the Clown Diving minigame, and Skyloft. Nintendo had a huge opportunity with the sky to create another Great Sea, a massive overworld full of islands each containing some sort of secret, or, well, anything. To fix the sky, I would of course take inspiration from the Great Sea, and add scores of new islands. Even if they aren't populated with characters, islands that hide secrets or minigames or even just a place to relax and chill would be a great addition, and make exploring the sky worthwhile. Fixing the sky by adding things to do would kill 2 Loftwings with 1 stone, since it would fix one of the dullest sections of the game as well as improve on one of its most lacking elements, exploration. Next up, we have another of the game's major flaws, revisiting locations and bosses. Leading up to the game's release, Nintendo promised boldly that this would be the biggest Zelda game ever, packed full of characters, content and stuff to do. This was no doubt a retaliation to the likes of Skyrim and Dark Souls, both huge games sharing Zelda's market. However, it seems that the end result was, in order to make the game seem bigger, you must revisit many old locations and bosses, such as re-entering completed dungeons or fighting the damn imprisoned again, and again, and again. To fix this, more unique areas, events and bosses would be a fantastic addition to make the game feel less stale. In retrospect, Skyward Sword still holds up to this day, and for a game released 5 or more years ago, depending on your place in the world, it still looks good. The game's dungeon design and story are a joy to re-experience. If you have anything to add in the comment section about how you believe the game could be improved, or what you think it did better than other Zelda titles, leave it below. And please remember that if you like this content, show us with a like, and to help us grow, please subscribe to the channel and share with your friends. This has been a Chamber of Sages production, and we hope to see you again soon. And remember, though life is an adventure, to keep yourself safe.